Hi everyone, in this video we're going to learn a really cool John Mayer lick that you can use on the turnaround at the end of the 12 bar blues. So that would be, if you're counting it in bars 9 and 10 is a really cool lick and it sounds like this. Stay tuned and I'll show you how to play it. In this video then we're going to learn a really cool John Mayer lick which is going to work fantastically well on your 5 and 4 chord in your 12 bar blues. But before we get stuck into it, make sure that you like, subscribe to the channel and click that alert bell so you don't miss any updates. So this lick then comes from a live recording that John Mayer was playing alongside Jimmy Vaughan, Doyle Bramhall and Gary Clark Jr. and they were playing the Stevie Ray Vaughan classic Pride and Joy. And this lick is taken from John Mayer's solo, which was an improvisation over the top of this track. And when I listen to the solo, you totally check it out. I'll put the link to the video in the description. It's a fantastic solo, but I really like this particular lick because he's kind of taking the same idea, playing it on the 5 chord, playing a very similar thing on the 4 chord and then resolving it back to the 1. It works really well. So let's just get stuck into learning this lick then. So what John Mayer does then, when we're in the 12 bar blues, this lick's going to be based in the key of E. Okay, so we go through the entire cycle of the 12 bar blues, then we get to bar number 9, which lands us on a B7, and then obviously in bar 10 we move into our 4 chord, the A7, so we've got the 5, which is a B7, 4, which is the A7, so the lick is going to be working over the top of that, right at the end of the 12 bar blues. So what he does then, he's sliding from around this area, we're going to slide from the 2nd fret, and we're going to slide straight up to the 8th fret on the G string, which is our major 3rd coming straight out of this shape. And then what he plays this. Okay, so he's playing 8 on the G, 7 on the B, 7 on the E. And then you want to play 9 on the high E, pull off to 8, pull off to the 7th fret. So it goes like this. And let me just do that a few times. And a little bit slower. Okay, and then he bends up on the 10th fret on the B string. Okay, which we're aiming for that B note. So it's a 2 fret bend. Then he plays the 7th fret on the high E. So let me just play all of that so far. And then you repeat the bend again. And the high E string again. So the lick in its entirety sounds like this. And one more time. Okay, so let me just do that a little bit faster. Okay, so this time I'm going to count along with it as well. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so our beats, we get 1, 2. So the first beat, we're hitting that 8th fret on the G. Second beat is the 9th fret on the high E. 1, 2. Then the bends, 3rd beat there, and the 4th beat on the bend. So we get the first beat is on that note, the 8th on the G. Second beat on the 9th fret on the E, and both of the bends are beats 3 and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and this time I'll just count with the quaver subdivision. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, really lovely lick. So what he does then, if you imagine that is really sitting around our 5 chord or B7. We're just going to move the same idea back 2 frets to fit with the A7, our 4 chord in the blues in E. But this time the rhythm is ever so slightly different at the beginning, whereas before we hit this note on the first beat, we don't actually do that this time. We're hitting the note we're going to slide from the first beat, so we'd get 1. Okay, 1. And this time, rather than playing as we did the first time round, we're going to skip the B string and go straight to the high E string. So you get 1 and 1 and so 2nd on the G, slide to 6th, straight to the 5th fret on the high E. 1, and then this next part is the same. 7, 6, 5 on the high E. So let me just play all of that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Okay, 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, and then the next part of the lick again is quite similar to the first part. He plays this. Now I've changed the ending just to kind of round the lick off a little bit more, but what he's doing is bending up on the 8th fret on the B. And he does that twice, and it's kind of like a small bend. It's not really hitting the 2 fret, it's kind of more of a 1 fret bend. So let me just go back to the beginning of that part of the lick and just play that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then to finish the lick off, you hit the open E and the open B string. So let me just play all of that. And then we'll resolve back to our 1, which is where it lands on the 1 chord. We're going to hit the E note, that 5th fret on the B string. A little bit faster. And I'll count along with it. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, so let me just add that part to the first part. So I'm going to go from the 5 chord into the 4 chord, okay? And one more time. It's such a cool lick. So I'm going to put the metronome on and we're going to play along with this with the metronome. But then after that, I'm going to show you a way we can kind of move this around to get more of a movable lick. So obviously by playing open strings, we've kind of limited the keys that you can do this in. So I'm going to show you a way. We're going to just change those notes a little bit and it's going to be a really easy lick to move all over the fretboard. So let's stick the metronome on. Here it is at 70 BPM. And one more time. Let's speed up a bit. Here it is at 80 BPM. And again. And let's just do it a little bit faster. Here it is at 90 BPM. And again. Okay, really nice sounding lick. You hit this in the right spot of the blues on that turnaround at the end, bars 9 and 10. In the key of E on the B7, the A7 like that, and it just sounds amazing. And like I said, I'll put the link to John Mayer playing it below so you can hear it as well. So what I'm going to do in a sec is I'm going to play that along with the backing track so you can hear how it sounds along with it. But let's talk about moving this lick around then. Obviously within this lick we're using some open strings. Now in some keys, if you were playing say in F or you were playing in A flat or E flat or B flat or a blues like that, some of the open strings are not going to sound quite as good. So it's nice with licks to be able to learn how to move them all over the fretboard. So what we're going to do, we're going to do that very quickly. So for the first part of the lick where we're playing this 5 chord, now it's quite a big slide. So what you can do is just, first thing, just get rid of such a big slide so we can do this sort of thing. So we just do a 1 fret slide rather than a kind of full fretboard slide. So that will be very easily then, if you kind of see that around this chord, you know, there's my 5 chord. So if I wanted to move that to another key, it's all kind of contained within that chord shape. So for example, if I want to play that in G, what I do is simply move this shape down to a G and play the lick. Okay, just because obviously if I was kind of keeping it as the John Mayer version, I'd be sliding from the top of the headstock, which isn't going to sound very good. So by just doing a smaller slide at the beginning, it's very easy to move the lick around. You know, let's change key. Let's do in B flat. As soon as you kind of piece that to that chord shape, it becomes a lot easier. So that would be the first part anyway. Let me go back to B. Okay, let's talk about this second part where it moves to the 4, where we hit those open strings, the open E and the open B. So what we can do then, we can just substitute them for something else like this. So what I did there then, I did a 1 fret slide rather than a full board slide, so I did this. 5, slide to 6, 5 on the high E. This part's the same, and then those bends, but rather than playing the open strings, I played 5 on the B, 6 on the G, back to 5 on the B again. So and that is going to resolve you back to your 1 chord. Now again, if you're thinking of that pieced to a bar chord, it's going to be easy to move around. So if I wanted to do this in G again, okay, because I'm seeing that all underneath that shape. If I wanted to do it in B flat, okay, so one thing I always try and do with licks is look at how I can play them myself, and I can play them in other situations, not just for the song that I'm taking the lick from. So I know then by just doing those kind of little hacks, if you like, or switching those notes around, I'll be able to play that lick in every single key, because what's important and what I'm doing there is I'm just piecing it to my bar chord. So it doesn't matter what key I'm in, wherever I am on the fretboard, because I know the lick in relation to this. I can play it all over the fretboard because I'm seeing the shape and I'm seeing how it pieces together around that, and that's a really handy tip for moving licks all over the fretboard. So before I wrap this video up then, let me put a backing track on and I'm going to play that lick over the top so you can hear how it sounds. Okay, that's the lick all the way through with the backing track. It's a fantastic lick and a really great one to get into your lick bag. So I hope you enjoyed that video. If you haven't done it already, make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel and click that alert bell so you don't miss any updates. If you want to learn more blues and you want to get a bit deeper into the blues, how to get this kind of major sound that we're using, how to sort of look at the chords individually so you're not just playing the minor pentatonic scale all the time, I have an online guitar school with 2 blues courses. One is a 30-day accelerator and the other's a little bit deeper, where we really get stuck in and really get to know how to improvise blues like the greats. The links are all in the description below. The website is www.fretlix.com. I hope you enjoyed that video and I look forward to seeing you again soon.